Oh, let's see, how does that look? Man, it has been too long since I've done this. Oh, better turn the light on. Oh, man. Oh my gosh, I'm so out of practice at this. Probably should wear this. It's been too long since I've done this, guys. Reminder to myself, this is not meant to be perfect. Welcome to the show. It's been a while. Today it is Saturday, the 27th of June. My gosh, it has been a while since I have put the camera in front of me and talked about anything and put it on my personal YouTube channel. I wasn't meant to do anything today. I was literally planning on vegging out, and I was just hanging the laundry up on the line and thinking to myself, this is the first weekend in literally 3 to 4 months since my last vlog that I have a second to think about making a YouTube video. So you should make a YouTube video, is what I was saying to me. I've been watching a lot of my old vlogs from last year, and I was watching the vlogs that I've posted this year. The last two in particular, the last one was about the start of the coronavirus. The one before that was about how I was navigating the dip season of the start of the year. And man, it was just a solid reminder about how important it is to just document, regardless of how you're feeling, how you're thinking. Because for me, watching those videos now, 3-4 months later, so much has changed, so much has happened. And if I didn't have that documentation and listening to what I said back then about the things that were going on, it wouldn't make making this video currently so much more exciting to do. Again, I want to share my journey as raw as I can. Literally, I haven't even done up my office. I just decided to sit down. It's a mess. Don't look but behind me. That's why I picked a tight lens. Basically, it's been a completely crazy 3 to 4 months since the coronavirus started to affect everything that was happening in the business world. Really, at the start of it, there were so many unknowns. And if you watch my last video where I kind of talked positively about how there was opportunity in the middle of crisis, I thought that and I really believed it. And God has been so kind in showing me every morning how to action that in my context. We're still not at the end of the coronavirus pandemic issue at the time of this recording, but a lot of normality has started to come back. You know, we're able to book in to go to restaurants and able to book in to go back to gym, for example. But I say all of that because I've been absolutely flat strapped with client work since coronavirus started. Man, there's so much to unpack here. I'm trying to share this raw, but in a way that I can encourage someone who might be watching this thinking, as a creative, how do you navigate really, I guess, tough situations? I'd like to say that following the last video, I took my own advice, and with a lot of prayer and a lot of direction and action, I feel like I've navigated this season quite well, genuinely. If I have a win, I want to share it. So I had a win. I've had some really big wins in the last couple months. Honestly, even to this week, even though things were flat strap crazy and I was actually doing so much work, it wasn't until I actually looked at numbers and went, oh my goodness, like that happened. And you know, and again, this is a side note about how important it is when working in your business to be working on it at the same time, to actually see where you're heading in terms of numbers, understanding that, teaming up with a really good bookkeeper and really good accountant, which has been, again, another growing point for me to understand this part of the business and how to actually make it a business and not just another job going forward. This is such a funny side rabbit trail, but I've been listening to the audiobook, The E-Myth, which I highly recommend, about basically the concept of working on your business as if you were going to franchise it. Even if you don't, even if I don't, having procedures, having organizational structure, having the vision, etc., etc. The concept made sense when I've heard it from so many different people, but until I heard it said that way, it kind of clicked finally to say, oh yeah, think of it as a franchise. So building potentially something that someone else could come along and franchise off me, in my case, Brown Fox Media House. And regardless of whether that happened or not, I know that that makes a business more valuable now. Another part of the journey of the last couple of months has been being surrounded by the right people, surrounding myself with knowledgeable people who can guide me along as well, give me advice where I would have no idea. Getting that perspective, I feel like I've really grown. I feel like I genuinely have really grown in this season. I guess I wanted to share what I did at this point in time, see if it might help someone else and also just a reference point for this point in my business. The initial part of the coronavirus scare within small business was definitely, it still is, but it definitely was more health related in terms of the immediate concerns were distance yourself, don't go in and meet in groups, don't touch people and be conscious of your hygiene, etc., which is instantly shut down gyms and shut down restaurants and cafes and shopping centers, anywhere where large gatherings are, and they still are at the moment. Any business at the beginning of the COVID-19 situation would have gone, people don't want to come and see us anymore. Even if their operation wasn't necessarily dependent on people coming to them. There was already a lot of people, a lot of businesses that could operate without directly seeing the customers. Another thing that I recognize is that there was an instant shift towards the internet and communication online. The value of video presented itself instantly. You know, Zoom exploded, became the #1 app. I'm sure that the investors of Zoom were just extremely happy. So recognizing as a videographer that video now had a chance to prove itself as an industry if it hadn't already. And then I looked around and I saw what other videographers were doing and how they were adapting. Again, groups being surrounded by brains trusts and people with ideas more than yourself is just so valuable, because I spotted what someone else did in the States. I haven't even had a conversation with this guy or their business. I've just seen their work, and huge shout out to the guys over at Silent Stream Media. If you ever see this video, if we ever connect, literally your idea helped me to save my business in this season and set it up really well, because they did what they were calling public service announcements, getting people to record a short video for extremely discounted prices, essentially to get their message out as to what they were doing in the season. Now, what I did was I took that concept and I adapted it to my situation and reality. If it was just a straight up carbon copy where I think it was basically a talking head video produced very well, then that would have only gone so far in my context. See, I'd been talking a lot about strategic video, and I believed that I had something different to offer that could stand out essentially. Where with storytelling and video that took people's essences, you can't capture that in just a talking head video. So essentially I went the extra mile and I advertised these videos with the intention of making them similar to the style and production quality and experience of any of my bigger projects. And I just went, I'm gonna give everyone the best experience I can for this extremely low price, advertise it throughout my network, and genuinely try to help people as well, because no one was making money. So it wasn't about a cash grab. It was about actually trying to do something mutually beneficial, genuinely. By being plugged into the right networks through BNI, through Kingdom Business Network, through a couple of other different networks, that message took off. I did 1, 2, 3, and that became at least, I can't remember exactly now, but at least a dozen to 15 different pieces of work, all had the same idea, but was for different industries. So I actually started to work with mechanics and with electrical contractors and financial planners and restaurants, and I got to do work for different industries, all the while staying safe, all the while doing my best to be safe, basically, and healthy and abide by regulation. And honestly, that was a huge thing. You know, this could be a completely different story if we weren't allowed to go in and work at other people's place of work. So very, very blessed. Essentially, through that and through, I guess, what became to me an influx of work during that season, it ballooned, you know, within the networks. It went, everyone I worked with talked about it to their friends, and obviously people saw it in social media, and I started getting more referrals in and just trying to continue to deliver that experience until I figured out when it was time, practically for me, from literally shooting, editing, meeting for 7 days for at least 6 weeks straight. It was pretty exhausting, which is why I said at the start of this video, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do anything this weekend, because I finally had breathing room. And slowly, and it's still building back up to where I was able to start bringing that production quality back into what is more standard videos, not these necessarily COVID related videos. So more just general branding And I guess I was able to build up a really huge body of work in this season. And I'm so incredibly thankful, because it looks like coming out of this now, I have basically been able to establish a reputation and deliver a good experience, good product that has genuinely, I believe, has genuinely helped people. This was a really long way of saying what I did. Obviously not getting to too many specifics, but the next part of my journey really at this stage is to really be intentional about systemizing what I do going forward, because I'm getting to the point now where it's a bit too much for me to handle everything that comes in, and I don't want to have to say no to some of the work coming in. Again, it's not a science, so I have to figure out how and when to get help genuinely. So yeah, it's been a crazy couple months. Man, I hope this video is in focus, because I've just been talking and I have no idea if it's in focus. Here's the thing, and again, this is raw, unscripted, so I don't even know where I've gone with this video yet. But I wouldn't be as excitable recording this video if I didn't know my numbers at the end of it. So understanding how important it is to not gauge success by busyness necessarily, but by actual business. So wouldn't have mattered how busy I am now if it wasn't looking like it was sustainable. So at the end of the day, it really is like this art form of learning how to navigate that and projecting out based on what's happened now, what's sustainable, what I can do. Super excited to start upgrading some of the gear I've got, for example, my computer. So really excited to start stepping things up, going next level and growing this business. Honestly, again, just the beauty of being able to have documented some of the journey up to this point has really made this so exciting to look back on. And I know there's gonna be more downs, and that's the thing. I wanna make sure that I still capture it. I don't wanna forget to document it. You overestimate what you can accomplish in a year and you underestimate what you can accomplish in 10 years. But sometimes I feel you also can underestimate what you can accomplish in a year. It's been a year since I took this full time. And it's only now, 1 year into it, that I can see a semblance of a path of how this continues forward and continues to grow. Just because I quit my job 1 year ago doesn't mean that even a couple weeks ago, I thought it was going to keep working. You know, this whole video could have been out of focus, but at the end of the day, whatever. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and learned something from it, then thank you for watching and listening. And I'm excited to keep sharing my journey where I can. If you have any questions, leave them for me in the comments below. And I hope that you all have a great day, and I will talk to you on the next video.